episode of Desire to Inspire. It's your mama's favorite podcast. Here with my guy, Dylan.
Hey.
After a fun, exhilarating weekend.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it, man.
You know what's funny is that I think on this bench I look taller than you as well. In the camera?
Man, I could sit all the way up if you'd like.
Still taller.
Well, I'm not all the way up. I just get my posture up in general. I don't like to put my butt against the edge of the bench, so I'm usually out a little bit. So
okay.
A little weird little angle.
Weird little angle. We got the lights back in the background. They got to be mounted still, but I'm excited that we have this back. I know that I brought it up last time, but I like this setup. I'm excited for our future setup, and we're at the drawing board with the silent investors, man.
I was like, wait, what are you talking about, silent investors?
Silent
you
investors.
throw me off every time you. I'm like, we're at the drawing board.
Yep, we are designing a new studio. We are going to be moving to a new spot probably in February now, which I didn't bring you up to speed on, but we've made the executive decision that it's probably smarter to extend our lease 1 month here and do like a month by month for the month of January into February. So that way we're not rushing around and we're all out at the same time. So that way we're not paying double rent, new security deposits, like all that. It's like, let's just pay a little bit more for that month of January to February, all move out together and then be good to go.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Trying to be smarter. Definitely looking at some really beautiful places, which makes it hard because it's definitely like, I want to bite the bullet. But
how far are you away from everything, or how far are you going to be?
So from like where you guys are, it'll only be like 15 minutes. From where we are, it's about 25.
Is it going to be a weird adjustment for you, think, getting away from everything?
Major. The first place that we looked at, it was like my heart kind of started racing, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Because like I've been in the city for 6 years now, over 6 years, and between Dallas and here. And so when we were out that far, just thinking about it, I kind of got like super quiet, and the twins were asking me like, everything good? And I was like, yeah, everything's fine. And then as we were talking, I was like, whoa, Amanda said something. I was like, I think you're right. Like, I think I am a little bit nervous to be that far out. That one was like 35 minutes and like an hour with traffic.
That's far.
Yeah, and there wasn't nothing to do around there. Like, it was just nice because the place that we looked at was nice. Done. Yeah, that one's
off the table now.
Off the table. But we've been looking in the Ballantyne and Fort Mill area now, which again is like 15 minutes away from y'all. It's not bad. There's a ton of stuff to do around there. They're building like an amphitheater. They're building all this stuff that's like bringing this community up. And it's nicer too because it's a nicer area, which means like nicer spots, hopefully connect and meet more people when we're going out. Not so much of the hoorah of like the South End area club.
Thriving hoorah.
I like it. But driving around there, I was like, okay, I could get used to this. And again, if we want to come for an Ohio State game, it's a fucking 20-minute Uber drive. Like, it ain't bad. That's why Uber's around. Mm-hmm. But you don't need an Uber when you drink. Athletic Brewing Co., baby.
Oh, we got the same one today.
Yes, we do. I felt like we had to do it. It's their winter one, their Witt's Peak, and it's fucking cold outside. So cheers, brother.
It is.
Athletic Brewing Co., the best non-alcoholic beer on the market.
I actually just saw something today.
You will not regret it.
Yeah, Dylan 20, save some percent. This is like going off the same thing. I saw something about like dry bars are like becoming a thing in like the Cleveland area.
Yeah.
Like there's like a multiple of them popping up. I was like, that's kind of a wild concept.
Yeah, there was one in Columbus that popped up, and I remember me and B. Poling back in the Texas roommate era. We read that article, and we were like, what the fuck is that? Who the fuck's going to go to that? But I will tell you, the last 3 restaurants, if there's one thing you guys know about me, it is that I love to go out and get dinner at like a nicer spot, have a meal around the table, have conversations. But all 3 of those restaurants made it a point to be like, here's our mocktails and here's our non-alcoholic beers, like specifically called out where they were on the menu. And I thought that was wild because I feel like I don't notice that. No. I did not.
I think it's like kind of generationally shifting.
Yep.
I think like the younger, maybe not like right below us because they're definitely still going hard out here with us. But I think like the young teens are probably like, I don't even want to deal with it.
Yeah. They're saying that and like technology and stuff like that, the younger generations like aren't feeding into it.
Into technology?
They're saying that the like newer generation that's coming up is like getting flip flip phones again instead of smartphones.
I believe that when I see it, or I blame like their parents probably like I don't want to pay for them an iPhone.
I don't know, man. Kids are so
I was avoiding the white spot behind me. That's why I was not moving it.
There we go.
But it should be fine now.
Yeah, that way it lights it all up. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I think that there is a really cool, like, deeper message down there. Would I do that? I don't think so.
I don't think so either, man. Like, I see the benefits of it. And that's the thing is, like, I can genuinely say when I was on 75 hard, felt better. Like, energy was improved. Sleep was better. Looked better. So, like, I can see all these benefits. But then, pulls me right back in.
It's society, man. Every single time somebody hits you up, every single time that you go to do something, it always involves either the phone or going out and getting drinks or going to sit on a patio or going on social media to see what people are doing. Like, it's a societal thing that is an endless booby trap.
This entire weekend was just spent out and about.
Yeah.
The whole fucking weekend.
I'm glad I had some self-discipline.
I couldn't if I wanted to.
That's facts. You were hosting. It was a lot of fun, man. I fucking had a great time. Love seeing them and excited, hopefully, for them to come back down and, see the other side of North Carolina, golfing, boating, hiking.
Oh, yeah, when it's nice out?
Yeah.
But, I mean, actually, they had a beautiful weekend, though.
It was.
It's just we couldn't have predicted that was going to happen, to plan all that kind of stuff.
That was a lot of fun, though. My fantasy team still fucking sucks dick.
Yeah, I'm on a 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, I hate when I lose and you have like a player on the bench that could have made you win, or you have 2 players that could have made you blow the person out.
I had 33 points on my bench from 1 player.
I had 45 from 2 players. 33 from 1? Oh, Jesus.
32.8. We'll round up.
Yeah, that sucks.
And all I really needed was like 15 points, I think, to win.
I don't know if you remember, but the loser has to wear a dress in Nashville and sing Shania Twain.
Are you that low?
Your boy's in last place.
By how many games?
Now, technically 1 game to tie with 2 of the people, 2 games to get ahead of them.
So let's say that there's a tie. Do you guys go by points 4? Or do you guys do
I have the lowest amount of points.
Oh.
Yeah. It didn't help. Oh, and 2, I had Waller in, and he got hurt, and so he only scored me 1.4 points. But the guy that I am, looking at the positives, not honing in on the negatives, because again, this is going to be the greatest comeback of fantasy history. I said it last week. I won. This week, I should have fucking won, but my player went out that probably could have gotten me, if he had the same points as the previous week, to that winner's bracket of this past week. But anyways, we won't harp on that. I have to own up to it. I lost. I'm not going to be a sore loser.
There's enough for the season left. You have time.
I do have time, and that's what's great. So I need to stick to my gut and not look so much into the fantasy analyzers.
I'm the worst
because if
that.
I would have stuck with my gut, I would have had one of those players in on my bench. But I listened to them and I kept mixing out because they said that Cincinnati's run game was going to be on top because of the defense they were playing, this and that. Mixon went off for fucking, I don't know, close to 20 points or something like that.
Bengals balled this week, man. What can I say?
Yeah, the Browns almost pulled it off, but just like me, failure. They lost, I lost, but we're going to bounce back. That's what I was going to say is some people look at the negatives of Waller getting injured and getting out, but I looked at the positives that he scored me 1.4 points at least, and I don't have to chug a beer because he didn't score 0.
Oh, it's a 0.
Yeah. Dude, these side little weekly things that we have are amazing. They make this league so much fun. So I will own it loud and proud. I'm going to make a sign on my chest. I'm not going to release what it says in case any of them listen to this, but it should be pretty comical if I'm the loser, but I'm not going to be. We don't lose.
Yeah, well, I wish you luck, but at the same time, I kind of want to see you sing.
I do not, but I will do. I pay my debts. My dad raised me right.
Yeah, I wish our league was a little more interactive this year. We're real quiet.
Oh, really?
Real quiet in the chat. Nobody's saying much. People don't even hit each other up to trade. They just come through.
Damn.
It's weird.
That is odd. I don't know if you saw, but Vikings quarterback, he's out with an Achilles tear or whatever it is. 2 things. One, I want to see if he comes back as fast as Aaron Rodgers is. They're saying that Aaron Rodgers could be playing in the next like 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, he was out on the field this past week with no crutches, in a shoe, throwing a football around.
What's he doing? A whole bunch of ayahuasca?
He doesn't really elaborate whenever Pat McAfee and them ask him what he's doing. He just says, my doctors are trying new and different things, and we're doing this, and I just believe in holistic mind, blah, blah, blah. And this, and I'm like, I want to know what you're doing.
I think if it's successful, it might come out.
Facts.
Because one of the doctors is going to want that recognition for other players.
And supposedly that doctor did the same surgery on somebody else, maybe a lineman or something like that, the same amount of time. And so they're like, I wonder how he's going to recover versus Aaron Rodgers. So it'll be crazy. We'll see. But the second point is that the Cardinals just traded Dobbins over to the Vikings. So
there's a lot of stuff going around right now.
Yeah, I scooped up Dobbins. Obviously, I'm number 1 on the waiver chart. So I scooped him up because I think he'll do good there, score some points. He'll be my backup. I got Allen as my top quarterback, but for bye week, I think he'll be a good selection.
Like I said, I wish you luck, but at the same time, kind of praying on your downfall.
Well, that makes you and 8 other people in my league. 7.
I'm probably 9. Oh, there's only 8 people in that league?
Yeah.
I always forget about that.
Yeah. 8 people.
I'm like, I don't think anybody would be hoping that they lose.
No. But all of the top people got knocked out, except for the guy I played, so what goes up must come down.
That's always a good week. That's how my week was last week.
Yeah.
But now I'm just still out here slurping it up.
You got to do what you got to do.
What?
I want you to talk. I've been talking this whole time.
Oh, I was waiting. You the one who said you had the topic today.
Oh, I don't know if it's appropriate to roll into it right now. So,
sorry.
You can put crickets in the background because I thought you were going to come in with something since I've been blabbering this entire podcast so far.
Just letting you talk football, man.
Switching gears to football, or from football, and going more towards daily like habits, routines, rituals. You guys know that I love them. You guys know that we focus on them, but we all know that things can fade off into the distance if you don't put the attention into it. And one of those things, as we talked about a few weeks ago, for me, was reading. And it wasn't until you were like, I'm giving you this book, let me take that book. You gave me that back. I'm still reading this one. Where I am starting to see the value of reading. And it's weird because I do a lot of reflecting as I'm reading or try and relate it to things in my life or things. So that way it sticks. It's kind of like a name. Like when I meet somebody, it's like Dylan. Oh, okay, Dylan Thacker. Cool. Nice to meet you, Dylan. And then I tend to remember their name more. I'm trying to do that with reading as well, because one thing that my father always told me as I was young and growing up is that he wanted me to read more. And one of his biggest regrets was that he didn't read as a kid. He was never forced to read. He was never told to read. And so it was never something that he focused on, but he wished he would have, because he sees the downfalls in different areas. And so he gave me the book on Tiger Woods that he wrote about him and his dad. He gave me a book that I could read while I was shitting on the toilet. It was just little synopsis that I could keep on the back. And to be completely honest, I don't think I got farther than 15 pages into either of those books. And I think about it to this day, because I'm the one thing that he always preached that he wanted me to do is read. But I looked at it from the standpoint of if
it's like a chore.
Yeah, if dad doesn't read, why do I need to read? Why is he going to make me do something that he's not doing? And so I never got it. And a fun fact that I will share that will be in my book in more detail one day is when I was growing up, I was taken out of classes to go to one of those mobile units to go and get tutored in reading, because one thing that I couldn't do was read and spell. One thing I still can't do, but I can do a lot better, is read and spell. And it is something that haunts me to this day because of having that experience of having to get taken out of class to go to these fucking mobile units. And again, I'll get deeper into it one day. Don't really want to now. But it played a huge factor in just from elementary school all the way up until I graduated college to now. If you're hey, read this out loud, or Freddie, read whatever it is.
I do not like to read out loud.
Yeah, I freeze up. I'm God. And all those flashbacks of those classes and my thoughts and everything keep running through my head. So what my parents did was they got me in contact with this lady, little old lady, Miss Sobieski, and she was a magician. And
For someone who can't read, that sounds like it would be a mouthful to try to read.
She was the scariest elderly lady.
Oh, like actually was scary?
Bro, she was so intimidating.
And that's who they wanted to teach you to read?
It worked. Like, I'm not joking. If it wasn't from her, I don't even know, like, if I would have graduated high school, let alone, like, got into any colleges.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like, she took me from, like, I don't know what grade, but just say, like, a first grade reading level all the way up to, like, a ninth grade reading level. And I was, like, in fifth grade maybe reading at that. So, like, I was super behind. I was not like you at all. And so they did that, and I hated going there. Every single week, I would give my mom shit. I would have to go after baseball. I'd have to go before baseball. But the security is that nobody knew I was going there. And at the end of every single tutoring session, we would be able to get these like king size candy bars. And I was like, all right, well, there's something to look forward to at the end of it. For months, years, however long I went to Miss Sobieski, I gradually started to catch hold or wind of like how to even go about reading a book. And then from there, it just started developing. With that, I was getting like help on the side for like spelling and all of that kind of stuff. And so reading to me now is like, I can do it, especially in my head. I feel like I'm a lot faster than I used to be, but I still like reading out loud. I'm not nearly as fast as I like read in my head. And so I say all this because, again, it's something that bothered me when I was younger. But it's something that I kind of hold like near and dear because, again, I want to be I'm going to be a New York Times bestseller one day. And I think it'll be cool to kind of like give a perspective in the light that I'm thinking of it in a book so people understand it, can relate, because this isn't just something that I go through. This isn't just something that my friends laugh at me for it, you, everybody else.
But it's far more common than the opposite.
Of knowing how to read?
Like, I feel like more people struggle than don't struggle. With like reading comprehension, like recall, all that. There's more people who struggle. And especially like when you were young, no one even knew. So imagine how many other people were out there that you didn't know.
Yeah.
And they're probably going through the same shit.
And I would look at it like the whole world knew.
Yeah, this lady didn't have a job for no reason, bro. There's a lot more of you out there.
That's a fact. So as I'm reading these books and I talk about habits and everything like that, one of the habits that I've gotten into is just reading 5 pages a day, knock it out any time of the day, morning, afternoon, evening. And so what I've been doing is kind of like reading it on the balcony, or I'll come in here, put the lights on low, and the next thing you know, I'm 10, 15 pages in. Some days I get the 5 pages, and I'm like, all right, this is it. So why am I telling this story? Why did I go into that dialogue? Is because as we do things that we like, whether it's the marathons, whether it's the weightlifting, the powerlifting, eating healthy, trying something new, or something as simple as reading, I think that we need to share and elaborate on these stories because people out there are in the same thing. One of the calls that we just had recently, we asked a question of like, what does your morning routine look like? And you could tell that there was hesitation. And it was like, I'm asking because this is what mine looks like. This is how I stay in line. And then they opened up and they started talking about it. And so as I'm reading these books, I'm like, there's no reason to keep this held in. I might as well share a quote and see how you dissect it. And knowing that you read this book, see what your mindset is around it, or dialogue that you have to hopefully inspire others to pick up a book and start reading, or even like look at more useful information on social media than just the TikTok scrolling or the Facebook reading. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Pick up the book. It's really fucking good. But the quote is this, and I want to see what you think of it. I'm going to read the whole thing, but I really want to point out the first part of it. It says, "No one has a harder time than the lazy. No one experiences more pain than the glutton. No success is shorter lived than the reckless or endlessly ambitious." See, this is me freezing up because I'm like, fuck, people are watching me.
I was thinking he just told all this he's about to read out loud.
Yeah. And then failing to realize your full potential is a terrible punishment. The first part, when I read that, no one has more time than no one has a harder time than the lazy, I was like, holy fuck. Knowing my situation, people's situations, I know other people's situations that we help. What did you take away if you remember reading that part of the book on that statement?
I definitely don't remember that statement. Like, I probably read that like a year ago, so it's definitely kind of fresh. But I mean, it's 100% true. We talk about it all the time, and not even on here. We don't talk about we talk about like personal experiences and like people that we know and or like just we're acquainted with and all these things about how their situation might not really be that bad if they would just put in the work to get themselves out of it. But when you're lazy, it's gonna get worse. Like you're gonna sit there, your situation's not just gonna magically improve, and now you're just gonna wallow in self-pity, and you're just gonna keep digging yourself deeper simply from inaction. Like it's not like you're doing these things to go against yourself. It's just I feel like you're not even aware.
Yep.
And I would argue that they're not even aware that they're necessarily lazy. Because it's not like they wake up, they don't have a job, they just lay around. Because there is those people.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's what the quote necessarily means.
What's your definition of lazy? Like, to you, what does lazy mean?
Not willing to put in necessary work. If you want change, but you're not willing to work toward change, you're lazy. And that can be taken a lot of ways. That can be in a career. That can be in your physique. That can be in just becoming happier. It can really be any way. But if you know everything has work, there's going to be work in anything that you do. And if you're not willing to put in necessary work at a baseline to even try to get better, you're lazy.
Yep. Yeah, I think something in there needs to be said about, like, how could I phrase it? When people complain more than the action that they're putting in,
yes,
or they're using the complaints thinking it's action they're putting in, that to me is like a laziness as well. And that's what I think of is lazy, is when people are doing more of this than more of whatever action looks like, working out, running, anything like that. And I think that's how I view lazy, just because I've been that person before and I've seen myself let myself go both mentally and physically.
Same.
And through that, you learn an extreme lesson, not only about like yourself, who you are, but like what's important to you in life, where you want to go in life, what you want to focus on. So when I read that line that no one has it harder than the lazy, like it's truly like the epitome of everything. Most people, when they complain about not being able to get a new job, it's because they're being lazy. Most people, when they complain about not being able to walk up and down steps, is because they're lazy. Most people, when they complain about not being able to go the day without feeling fatigued, or that they're like hit a flat line in the day, it's because they're lazy. They're not focusing on the things that they could be doing to help fuel that area or to help work on that area. And so what's easier than just talking about it? There's nothing. You can sit there all day. People will listen to you. People won't even keep it real with you.
Because it validates their complaints.
Yep.
And if you complain now, I have somebody to complain to too. And it just breeds this whole cycle of people who are just complaining together and no one's taking action. But hey, we're all just staying here together, so let's just keep bitching to each other because it makes us feel better.
Yep. It's kind of just like people that are in group chats, in anything in life, work chats, text message with your friends, your family. There's people that are in work chats, or people that are in family chats, friend chats, but there's always there's always a group on the side. There's always text on the side.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when people are lazy, in my mind, complain this, that, bitch, complain, whatever the fuck it is that you're surrounding this topic around. You have that conversation. It's going in that person's ear, out the other. They might give you some sound advice like, hey, this and that, you may take, you may not. But that person's always going to say something on the side. Not that it's bashing that person or it's anything bad, but it's just like, God damn, like, can you believe X, Y, and Z? And so I think that would be my definition of lazy, is just the people that talk more than they put in the action around said thing that they want change in.
I mean, you even mentioned in there, like, if you don't know who, or if like it was something about like who you are, where you want to go in life, this and that. But I feel like there's a vast majority of people who don't know those basic things either. But that's not an excuse to be lazy. That's more of the reason to put in the work and figure that shit out, because nobody's going to figure it out for you.
Yep.
And you got to figure it out.
Yeah, I was talking to an individual a couple of weeks ago when I was out of town, and they were letting me know some things that were going on in their life. And I was just sitting there thinking in my head, like, well, when was the last time that you even like went on a walk? When was the last time that you just let yourself like be free and not like sit around and just think about said thing or situation? When was the last time that you challenged yourself and didn't just go through the norm every single day? When was the time that you like changed something? Because everything that they were talking about, it was just like, oh, this, and I sit here and blah, and it just like pained me because I just wanted to like grab them and shake the shit out of them and be like, just try something.
So why didn't you?
Because with how deep the conversation got, it needs to be gradual. It would be like the same situation when Matt, who is proud to talk about this now, so that's why I can voice it on here. When Matt needed to lose weight, somebody told him very direct and forward, and it fucking pissed him off. It didn't motivate him to get busy. Yeah. And then over time, the people that he had in his life motivated him to get healthier. Then it was like, oh my God, okay, this might stick. Then it falls off, then it goes again, then it falls off, and then it sticks. And it's like, oh, I'm full steam ahead. Now I'm going to try this. Now I'm going to try that. Now I'm going to motivate the people around me. And so it was one of those things where it was too deep to just like go in at that time. And so over the next weeks, months, and even year, hopefully can give them a spark in some direction. Not because they're still reaching out asking for it, not because they still want it to be a conversation, but I'm going to make sure it's a conversation.
Yeah.
And hopefully even bring them into the inspired to have them just be around positivity, because sometimes that's all people need. They don't have that positive influence because if you're not doing much in life and you're sitting around and you're looking on social media and you're scrolling your phone and then you go and you do something else, you turn the news on or you turn Netflix on, you don't have that time to sit with yourself to truly evaluate, like, what direction do I want to go? How did I get from this great lifestyle to this lifestyle that I'm in right now? And so again, through time, I think through little pokes at the bear of checking in, it will help unravel that onion that needs to be done.
I didn't ask like, hey, you should have. It was more like, was there a seed planted or like anything like?
Yep.
Did it basically come up?
There was a seed planted.
Okay.
Now I just got to water it.
Even though, like, because you're right, people don't take time to sit with themselves. But I think that sitting with yourself is, especially for someone who doesn't do it or like isn't practicing, it's a fucking terrifying thing. Because the things that you're trying to run away from and you numb with Netflix or just going to sleep or alcohol, whatever it is, those are the things that are going to come up. It's not like those things aren't going to be there when you take time for yourself, but at least then you can confront them head on.
Yeah.
Too many of us are running away from whatever the root problem is, and it's just making everything worse.
That's why I always say, like, just like our day-to-day lives of things that we have to get done, cooking breakfast, logging onto our computers, doing 5 meetings, and then cooking dinner, and then doing laundry. Yeah. Like, we need that in our
personal
life as well. And it doesn't even have to be things like, oh, I got to clean the house, this and that. No, I'm talking about, like, what the fuck's on your mind? What's on your mind the most that you keep thinking about, that keeps bringing you down, that keeps getting you in that funk? If it's a conversation you need to have with somebody, put that at the top of the list. Have the conversation with them. If it's family, friends, if it's your past, if it's like whatever it is, whatever the fuck is on your mind the most means it needs the most attention. It doesn't mean like bury it deeper and it'll go away. Tackle it head on, create a checklist for yourself personally, and start knocking those things off. There is nothing more fulfilling than checking off that list, whatever it is. It's a wide range of things for people because we all go through different shit. But once you start checking off those things little by little and having conversations or doing something different or getting physically active, those things then stem to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And next thing you know, you don't have a lot on your mind. All that shit's off of it now. And it's like, whoa, I just had to have that conversation. I feel so much better. Like, we all know a conversation we've had with a girlfriend, a family member, or whatever, that it's like, fuck, I need to talk to them, but I don't want to because I don't want to start problems, this and that. And then you have the conversation, and it might get a little rocky or it might be hard at first, but then you have it, and it's like, oh, that weight is lifted off my shoulders. I feel good now. I can breathe. I can sleep. I don't have to worry about it. And so I think it's like one example that I have, just to put more context around this, is when my grandfather was really sick towards the end of it. For like the last year of him being with us, I would leave my phone on loud, and I would get like 3 hours of sleep a night because I was always scared that I would get that call in the middle of the night that he was gone. And I didn't open up to anybody about it. I didn't tell anybody about it. But it would be one of those things where my OCD would come back of like when I used to have to like check things like 8 times to make sure the lights were off or the door was locked or whatever. I was making sure my volume was all the way up. And then I would go and look again and, all right, it's not off. And that was one of those things where, like, if I would have just talked to my mom about it, or my sister, or I came to like one of my friends and been like, God, this is on my mind, this is weighing on me, it's making me do all these other things, probably would have been a lot easier. And so once I finally got it off my chest, where we knew, like, you know, the time might not be here a while, we had a really good conversation with like family members that were around. And that night I just remember being like, oh, I feel like I can breathe. And then even though that day did come, it was a lot easier because I was having those conversations around it.
It's weird, like the different things that are considered hard. Like, because we talk about doing hard shit all the time, like how that's like how you're going to build confidence, you're going to do this and that. And a lot of people take it as probably like the physical shit we're doing. Like, we're training for these races, we're working out X amount of times a week, we're doing this. And like, those things to them can seem hard. Mm-hmm. But I think, like, because this one, I struggle with the same shit. I don't necessarily like to go right into the hard conversation. And I don't know what that really is. If it's just that, like, I don't know. I have this idea of myself in my head still that it's like, this is just hypothetical. I don't have this conversation. But I guess if it's my parents, either one, like, I'm not the person who can have a hard conversation with them. Like, who am I to be able to say that? Like, I'm a kid essentially to them. Yep. So I struggle with that. And even like, if it was like a peer, if it was a friend, and that's like, there's already, me and you have like very open conversations on here. So I feel like it'd be easier with you. Mm-hmm. But with someone who I've never had a conversation about like anything in depth, even if I can see that struggle, I'm very hesitant to jump in and even try to have that conversation.
Yeah. And it's wild too, because 90% of the time that like we do jump in and have those conversations, whether it's with parents, friends, family, a significant other, it makes it all better.
Yeah, it's not as deep as we think it is. No, ever.
It's not. And the longer we prolong that, the longer we procrastinate having those conversations or saying the things that we need to say, the worse and worse it gets. And then you have the conversation and it's like, why didn't you talk to me sooner about this? Yeah. Why didn't you say something sooner? Yes, I've been struggling with X, Y, and Z. And then it opens this door and it's like, wow, it all makes sense. I apologize. I won't be a shitty friend next time. I apologize. I won't be a shitty son. I won't be a shitty boyfriend. And it's just so weird, like, how we as humans compartmentalize things and make them seem way bigger out of proportion than they are. Because any situation, no matter how hard it is, somebody's been through a harder situation, and everybody's always gotten over the situation.
I think it's the human condition. Nice. Like, it's in our heads. Most of us are overthinkers. We blow it up, and now because it's just been trapped in here, it seems so much bigger than it is. Like, we've went over this scenario 100 different ways
and put all these hypotheticals in our brains.
It's like, now we're like down this worst case scenario that's probably not even a likelihood of happening. It's a 1 in a million chance that it goes that way, and it goes completely south.
Yep. And if it goes completely south, then you know the direction that it needs to go from there.
Yeah. I mean, there's only one way it can go from there.
It solves it. Everything solves itself when you, express things, put a focus on things, and start actually honing in on those different areas. But it's weird. Us as humans, I don't think anybody will ever truly know or understand the functions of the brain and why we as people do the things we do.
Because you can try to, but everybody's so vastly different.
So different. So different. There was this thing that I was seeing, and this is kind of going to like switch topics, but it's around like birthdays of like famous people and like people of certain different tiers. But before I jump into that, we're going to do our second sponsor, and it's fucking us, baby. It is us. Get your DTI blender bottles. We have them in stock. They're like $15. You'll get a surprise in every one that you order. We don't know what it is. Maybe we do, but each one has a different surprise.
We don't know what it is.
We have them in black. We have them in white, and some people buy both to switch the caps so that way they have it mixed matched. So go on the website. The link will be below. Support us so we can support you, and we appreciate it. Back to the program. But have you seen that before? Like significant dates, like I think it was.
No. Like in terms of like that's like why they are the way that they are.
Or why they can get to a certain status that they're at, or like all this weird shit. A whole bunch of like
Illuminati. No. I mean, no, because I don't think that's around birthday. It's like fucking, it reminds me of like horoscope shit.
Yeah, I don't know. The video was just really wild, and this is why I need to start saving them so we can pop it up and show it. But it was this guy talking about like famous people and their birthdays and how like on the 19th all these people were born and what it could correlate to and why on this date all of this stuff happens. It was just really weird.
But at the same time, there's a million other people with that same birthday who aren't shit.
That's a fact, and that's why you can't believe everything you see on social media, folks.
Yeah, I don't think I could buy into those things.
Is there a story, article, something in the news that's caught your attention recently that you're just like, what the fuck is wrong with this world? Or where the fuck did this come from?
No. To be fair, I'm not really in the know of the news right now.
But like, you don't even see stuff on social media. Like, how the fuck is this a thing?
I don't know where I would see it.
Okay.
Like, genuinely don't know where I would see it.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I saw something.
Okay.
And I don't believe we've talked about it on here. If we have, I apologize. But they are currently studying the effects of Ozempic in kids.
Oh, I think me and you talked about this.
But not on here, right?
No, I don't think on here.
Thoughts?
I mean, I don't think that there's any excuse for it to even be... There's no reason for a child to take that.
I agree.
I mean, I'd argue there's probably not a reason for anyone to take it.
To an extent.
I think that it's being way too widely prescribed right now.
That's
or
a
at least
fact.
things like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one thing... Like, it's a fad.
Yeah.
It's what it is right now. It's like the hot issue.
It's very hot.
But there's no reason to give it to a kid.
No.
No.
We don't know what it will do to them mentally long term.
Hormonally.
Hormonally. Their eating patterns and habits. Like, there's so much that can play into a factor of it.
I wonder how long it's been around in general.
I think it's been around a while because...
Yeah, I'm sure it has. It's just like, how did it get hot right now?
Kardashians.
Is that really how it...
I heard that. I don't know if it's true.
Spreading misinformation out here. Got to run a little banner at the bottom of this podcast now.
We should do that anyways.
just have it run nonstop.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I saw that. I don't agree with it, and I agree 100% with what Josh Richards said on BFF podcast with, haven't they ever heard of calorie deficit? There's no reason in hell that we should be giving these kids Ozempic. Tell them to go outside and play. And it's like...
Well, you are the parent. You're the one feeding this kid.
I was going to say, shouldn't we be blaming the parents?
Yeah,
shouldn't we be having the parents go
food?
to class and be like, this is how you raise a fucking kid? This is what health and wellness is?
Dude. Also, though, like... these kids don't have to have fucking six packs and be... Like, there's a lot of, like, naturally chubby kids who they hit a growth spurt and then it's just gone.
Yeah.
Like, you just wait it out.
There
a little
are
bit
some
here.
also like little fat fuckers.
Yeah. There's some fucking real big ones out here. And yeah, there's a difference though between like just being a kid and being a little overweight and being a monster.
Just a fucking unit.
Yeah.
I was watching the Note Boys Snapchat the other day, and they like went to a fan's house, and this fan's dad was just like laying on the bed flipping through channels, and he was large. And Kyle goes, look at the barrel on that guy. I was like, I'm going to start calling him that.
Kyle's starting to look good, man.
Yeah, I think he's...
On something? Ozempic?
He has a crazy transformation. And he said that, like, in one
it's
of his...
mainly cut drinking, though. Like, he stopped drinking as much, and he's working out 6 days a week.
And he's...
He said he's doing 1 to 2 workouts a Saturday, and then he goes out.
Yeah. Yep, and he's only, like you said, he's only drinking Saturdays. He also said that he was carnivore for the first 60 days. Which...
It'll do it.
What do you think about the one person that we're going to start training? Do you think it would be good to have them try that for like a month?
Who? Oh.
I was thinking about that after I saw Kyle's thing. I was like...
Honestly, yeah, I think it'd benefit anyone. I mean, it was benefiting me. I just got into marathon training, and I was like, I don't know if my body's going to react. It's just... It's tiring in terms of like, oh my God, this is all I'm eating right now. Mainly because like, it'd be different if I had unlimited resources to spend on meat and I could go get like these great cuts of steak. Mm-hmm. Like I had somewhere I could cook them all the time and they would be good. but I don't have the time nor the money right now to just eat steak 3 times a day. And I don't have the storage space to just buy half a cow and say, fuck it.
Yeah, that would be real nice.
Yeah.
Maybe once I get this house, we can get a deep
Dude,
freezer
I
in
was
the garage.
just thinking, like as I was saying, I'm like, there's enough of us, we could buy a full cow.
Yeah.
And probably be set up for like a couple months.
Because my thought process was that after the wedding, not mine, I'm going to go back to increasing carbs like I was telling you.
And now you're thinking just go carnivore?
No, I'm going to do the macro diet, like track my macros and everything.
Yeah.
And bulk up for 2 months. And then I was thinking on month 3, go carnivore and try it. Because I never tried it. I know that like I don't eat a lot of carbs right now, but I eat enough where I'm not doing carnivore.
So here's the thing. I was carnivore, sure. But I'd also drink, which is carbs. But I was lean. Like I was leaning out even with drinking. So I'm thinking like, imagine if I really cut out like beer at least. Like let's just call it beer because that's where the carbs are coming in. Because the other carnivore people that we follow, they drink liquor. Mm-hmm. Like they still go out and drink. Probably not the way that I do, but they do it.
Yeah.
And so I know what I experienced in a 30-day window. I couldn't imagine like going all the way in and cutting out everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know. My thing is, with a macros diet, you could get there both ways. Mm-hmm. Like it's possible to get there. It's just everything has to be dialed in. You got to watch condiments. You got to watch, which with carnivore just makes it easy because there's a certain amount of condiments that are carnivore. You're like either it is or it's not.
Yep.
So it's weird.
There's a lot of thoughts. There's a lot of things that I'm thinking of early into next year as we wrap things up. Actually, it'll start this year.
Yeah.
But carnivore was definitely one of those things. And again, I just want to do it to try it. Like, I want to try the half marathon. That's why we did that. I wanted to try the bulk. That's why we did that. I want to try macros. I did that. Like, I want to try all these things, not only so I can speak on them, but like if we have clients or somebody that comes in and they're talking about
This
keto,
could
it's
benefit
like,
you this way.
yeah, it's like, hey, you got to keep this dialed in here. Like, this is what keto is. This is what it means. This is what carnivore is. This is what it means. This is how you can optimize them. Excuse me. And so I think going through those things and actually doing them gives you that sense of being a little bit more credibility.
Yeah.
And hey, and look, when I was doing this,
I've done it.
Yeah, I noticed that I could have done this better, that better. But it's doing those things and again putting in the repetitions to like learn and grow and develop from trying something new.
I mean, it's worth a shot. We gotta see if they'd be open to it.
Yeah.
But I don't see why they wouldn't be.
Right. I think like Kyle did for the first like month or two. I think it would be crazy the results they would see
in 30 days. But my thing is like, is it actually the fact that it's carnivore, or are you in that deep of a calorie deficit? Like even I was eating to like the point of like overly full, and I was never hitting 2,000 calories a day. Even at mainly red meat, because I'm like, chicken's not enough calories right now for me to do chicken right now. So I was eating mainly red meat, eggs, honey, which is all calorically dense shit, and I'm still between like 1,800 and 2,000 a day. Damn. And that's with me throwing in like cheese and shit. And even that wasn't as strict as a carnivore would be. I wasn't going and getting like raw cheese.
Yeah.
I was just getting cheese from the store. Processed as fuck.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a calorie deficit. And I mean, the fact of carbs could have played a factor as well. But for this specific individual and the way that they train, I don't necessarily think that they need carbs either.
Yeah. I don't know. It might be fun for like an experiment's sake as well.
I agree.
They're pretty open-minded. So, I don't know. It'd be fun to train somebody like that.
Just got to pitch it right now.
All right. We'll keep you guys posted. Yeah. I like that idea.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
We'll see if they do.
That we will. Dylan, you want to wrap in our last sponsor of this episode?
Sure do. Wish you would have told me. I would have brought him in with me.
Yeah, we got to leave them here and get more pairs.
It's the ones that I wear, my main wear.
Well, I want them.
And they're just not here right now because I forgot I'm in the house. They're not in my car.
Yep.
But anyway, Optic Nerve. Code DTI for this one.
Yes, sir.
This one might be 25%, 20 or 25. Don't quote me on that. But the link is also below. It's more of like an active eyewear. They have lifestyle. They have training. I keep saying it, but I need to get some running ones. But yeah, code DTI will save you guys some cash.
Save you some cash. Look good in style while you're rocking it. You'd look really cool if you had a blender bottle in one hand and an Athletic Brewing in the other with the shades on.
We'll put the Athletic Brewing in our blender bottle.
Oh, you'd get all the girls, I'm telling you. And you'd kiss your mama's forehead. Have a great day. We love y'all. Hopefully you got a little bit inspired and you go and tackle the things that are on your mind. And remember, if you need a community, we got a community. If you're lost, so are we, but we will help you. Have a good one. It's on.
Peace.